Top 10 Fascinating Facts About Salvador Dali. Explore the most intriguing secrets of Salvador Dali in this video, where each fact unveils more about his genius and eccentricity. From unexpected collaborations to revolutionary techniques and complex loves, dive into the fascinating world of Dali. Get ready for a journey that will transform your perception of art and life. Number 10. Friend of Walt Disney. Salvador Dali, the iconic Spanish surrealist painter, found a creative ally in Walt Disney, the pioneer of American animation cinema. In 1945, both visionaries collaborated on a short film project titled Destino. This project was conceived as a unique fusion of animated art and surrealism, intended to explore dreams and the subconscious through a poetic visual narrative. Dali and the Disney team worked together for 8 months, during which Dali produced a series of astonishing storyboards, sketches, and paintings that would serve as the basis for the animation. The creative process of Destino was a challenge, as it involved integrating Dali's fluid and often changing forms of surrealism with the more linear and narrative structure of Disney's animation. Despite the initial enthusiasm and considerable work done, the project was eventually shelved. The official reason was the financial difficulty that the Disney studio was going through after World War II. Thus, Destino remained incomplete, and the intertwined visions of these two giants of art and animation were suspended for decades. It wasn't until 2003 that Destino was completed based on Dali's original designs and under the direction of Dominique Monferi. The short film finally premiered and was praised for its artistic innovation and faithful interpretation of the spirit of the initial collaboration. Destino became a testament to the crossroads between surrealist art and mainstream animation, showing how two seemingly disparate worlds can merge to create something completely new and exciting. Through Destino, Dali left an indelible mark on the world of animation, and his collaboration with Disney is now seen as a forward-thinking meeting of creative minds, which, although interrupted, offered a glimpse of what is possible when two artistic universes collide. Number 9. Passion for cooking. Salvador Dali was not limited to expressing his creativity through the canvas. His passion for innovation also extended to the kitchen. In 1973, Dali published a cookbook titled Les Diners de Gala, which became an extension of his surreal art applied to gastronomy. The book is named after his beloved wife and muse, Gala, and is filled with 136 recipes distributed across 12 chapters, each dedicated to different types of dishes, from appetizers to aphrodisiacs. The recipes in Les Diners de Gala are not ordinary. They include luxurious and often whimsical dishes such as veal in lobster sauce and bacon from heaven. Each recipe is accompanied by illustrations made by Dali himself, which provide a dazzling and sometimes disconcerting visual element, making the act of cooking an artistic experience. This book is not only a showcase of Dali's love for extravagance and opulence, but also a demonstration of how his art can transcend canvases and reach the dinner table. Dali himself admitted in the introduction that the true connoisseur does not consider the book as a mere cookbook, but as a genuine work of art. Les Diners de Gala is explicitly designed for the pleasure of the senses, a tribute to sensuality and a manual for recreating banquets that are both a feast for the stomach and the eyes. Additionally, Dali collaborated with chefs from some of the most renowned restaurants in Paris to ensure that the recipes were as decadent in flavor as in appearance. With this book, Dali achieves another layer of surreal immersion, blending the absurd and the sublime in a completely new context. Les Diners de Gala not only challenges culinary conventions but invites diners to an experience where food and art merge in a celebration of taste and imagination, demonstrating that for Dali, cooking was another form of artistic expression, rich in possibilities and brimming with creativity. Number 8. Obsession with soft watches. One of the most recognizable and enigmatic images in Salvador Dali's art is that of the soft watches, particularly highlighted in his 1931 work, The Persistence of Memory. This painting features several melting watches scattered across a desolate landscape, evoking a sense of fluid and distorted time. The inspiration for this work came peculiarly and spontaneously. Dalí claimed that the idea arose upon seeing a piece of camembert cheese melting in the sun. The image of the soft watches not only shows Dalí's ability to transform everyday objects into surreal symbols but also reflects his fascination with the ideas of time relativity and reality deformation. Through these watches, Dalí explores the malleable nature of time, a visual interpretation that many link to the influence of Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, although Dalí himself suggested that his inspiration did not come directly from physics, but rather from his personal and surreal interpretation of the human experience. The persistence of memory invites viewers to question the rigidity of their own perceptions and to consider a more fluid and dynamic reality, where time can literally bend and stretch. This painting is a testament to Dalí's interest in incorporating scientific concepts into his art, but reinterpreted through his unique surreal filter that distorts reality to explore deeply the human subconscious. Dalí's obsession with soft watches was not limited to a single work. They appear in several of his paintings, each time offering a new variation on the theme of time and its flexibility. These watches have become one of the most potent and recognized symbols of surrealism, reflecting the artist's constant attempt to visualize and manipulate time in ways that defy logic and open new avenues for personal and emotional interpretation. Number 7. Dalí and Sigmund Freud. The relationship between Salvador Dalí and Sigmund Freud is a fascinating crossroads between art and psychoanalysis, two fields that explore the depths of the human mind from different angles. Dalí, deeply influenced by Freud's psychoanalytic theories, saw in the father of psychoanalysis an idol whose understanding of the subconscious mind and dreams resonated with his own surreal explorations. In 1938, this admiration led Dalí to visit Freud in London, in what would be one of Freud's last public appearances due to his deteriorating health. During this meeting, Dalí brought with him his work, Metamorphosis of Narcissus, a painting that exemplifies the application of Freudian theory to surreal art. Dalí strove to impress Freud, making a quick drawing of him during his visit. According to accounts, Freud commented to a friend, "Until now, I was inclined to see the surrealists, who seemed absolutely insane to me, as completely insignificant. This young Spanish man, with his fanatic eyes and undeniable technique, has made me reconsider my opinion." The impact of Freud on Dalí extended beyond this meeting. Dalí used psychoanalysis as a tool to explore and represent the subconscious, which is reflected in his technique of the Paranoic critical method, a strategy for accessing the subconscious and visualizing dreamlike images. This method allowed Dalí to create a unique iconography that unraveled deeper layers of meaning, nourished by a mix of dreams, associations, and personal symbolism. Dalí's connection with Freud not only influenced his artistic techniques but also strengthened his interest in exploring and visualizing the more abstract and enigmatic terrains of human thought. Through his art, Dalí continued to engage with Freud's ideas, opening new paths in the understanding of the human psyche and extending the reach of surrealism beyond art into a deep meditation on the mind. Number 6. Public eccentricities. Salvador Dalí was as well known for his art as for his extravagant displays of personality, which he strategically used to capture public attention and media focus. One of the most notorious examples of his eccentric behavior was when he gave a lecture in 1936 at the Independent Art Society in London. Dalí appeared dressed in an antique diving suit, complete with helmet and air tank, arguing that he needed to dive into the depths of the human subconscious to explore his surreal themes. This act was not only a visual demonstration of his commitment to surrealism and his desire to explore the unknown but also a theatrical act that challenged expectations of how an artist should behave. The presentation was not without difficulties. Dalí nearly suffocated inside the airtight helmet and needed to be rescued and freed from his attire by attendees. This incident only added to Dalí's legend, emphasizing his willingness to suffer for his art and to use any means necessary to communicate his ideas. Dali's eccentricities were not limited to his public appearances. They extended to his everyday life and his interactions with other prominent figures. For example, in his encounters with celebrities and artists, Dali often carried out unexpected acts, such as driving a car filled with cauliflowers or insisting on paying checks with drawings that he knew recipients would not dare to cash. Through these acts, Dali blurred the line between his life and his art, transforming every gesture into an artistic statement and every public appearance into a performance. These eccentricities not only reinforced his identity as a committed surrealist but also ensured his place in the media spotlight, which helped him promote his work and maintain his relevance in the competitive art world. Number 5. The Paranoic Critical Method. Salvador Dali was the architect of a revolutionary artistic technique known as the Paranoic Critical Method. Developed in the 1930s, this technique was a vehicle for Dali's creative process, allowing him to explore and represent the world of the subconscious and dream in a visually tangible and theoretically grounded way. The Paranoic Critical Method is based on the idea of inducing a paranoid state, in which the artist could perceive connections between objects that are not visibly related, thus facilitating the creation of surreal images. Dali himself described this method as a spontaneous method of irrational knowledge based on the critical interpretation of delirious associations and phenomena. Through this technique, he proposed to capture the images of his unconscious without the intervention of reason, allowing those visions to flow freely and materialize in his works. A clear example of this method in action is his painting, The Face of War, where multiple faces intertwine in a horrifying vision that suggests intense psychological and emotional depth. This approach not only profoundly influenced Dali's artistic practice but also allowed him to explore themes of duplicity, desire, and madness, recurrent elements in his work. The paintings created under the influence of this method are testimonies to his ability to interweave the real with the imaginary, challenging the viewer to question the nature of reality and perception. Dali used the Paranoic Critical Method not only to explore personal themes but also to comment on social and political issues of his time. This technique allowed him to present his critiques and observations in a way that was both enigmatic and intellectually stimulating, ensuring that his work was both a visual puzzle and a continuous commentary on the human condition. Number 4. Museum dedicated to his work. In 1974, Salvador Dali saw the culmination of one of his most personal and emblematic projects, the inauguration of the Dali Theater Museum in Figueras, Spain. This museum is not just an art gallery, but a work of art in itself, conceived and designed by Dali to offer a complete surreal experience to its visitors. Located in the former municipal theater of Figueras, which was destroyed during the Spanish Civil War, Dali transformed the ruins into a space that reflects his artistic vision and legacy. The Dali Theater Museum is much more than a container for artworks. It is an artistic statement that encapsulates Dali's life and creative philosophy. Every corner of the museum is imbued with the spirit of surrealism, from the furniture and sculptures to the painted ceilings and walls. One of the highlights of the museum is the geodesic glass dome, which has become an iconic symbol of Figueras. Beneath this dome lies Dali's tomb, where he rests since his death in 1989. The museum houses the broadest range of works representing Dali's artistic career, from his earliest artistic experiences and his surreal creations to the works of his later years. Among the highlighted works are The Spectre of Sex Appeal, Atomic Leda, and Gala Contemplating the Mediterranean Sea. Additionally, Dali ensured that the museum offered a multidimensional view of his work, including drawings, sculptures, engravings, installations, and holograms. The Dali Theater Museum not only attracts admirers of Dali's art but also functions as a catalyst for the surreal experience, inviting visitors to enter a world where the line between reality and fantasy is boldly and creatively blurred. Through this space, Dali managed to perpetuate his legacy, offering a comprehensive portrait of his life and work that continues to fascinate and inspire generations of artists and art enthusiasts around the world. Number 3. Influence of science and mathematics. In the last decades of his life, Salvador Dali developed a deep interest in various areas of science and mathematics, which he significantly integrated into his artistic work. This interest is clearly manifested in paintings such as the Madonna of Port Legat, the Christ of St. John of the Cross, and Crucifixion, Corpus Hypercubus. These works show Dali's fascination with sacred geometry, divine proportion, and emerging concepts of quantum physics and string theory. Crucifixion, Corpus Hypercubus, for example, shows Christ crucified not on a wooden cross, but on a hypercube or tesseract, a geometric figure that represents a cube in 4 dimensions. This use of a complex and multidimensional structure not only challenges the traditional representation of this religious subject but also reflects Dali's interest in advanced scientific theories that explore concepts beyond human 3-dimensional perception. Dali's approach to science was not merely decorative. He delved into mathematical principles such as the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio, applying them to create compositions that reflect an almost divine harmony. This is evident in the Madonna of Port Legat, where the arrangement of the elements and the very figure of the Madonna and Child are meticulously aligned with these mathematical principles, suggesting an order and precision that transcend the visual to hint at the infinite. This link between science and art in Dali's work not only illustrates his ability to merge disciplines in innovative ways but also offers a window into his worldview, where science and religion, the physical and the metaphysical, coexist and mutually enrich each other. In doing so, Dali not only expanded the boundaries of surrealism but also challenged his viewers to consider new ways of understanding reality and existence itself. Number 2. Dali and his mustache. Salvador Dali's mustache is one of the most distinctive and recognizable features of the artist, as much as his surreal paintings. He began growing his mustache in 1929, inspired by the style of the 17th-century Spanish painter Diego Velázquez. Dali not only adopted this style for aesthetics but also as an act of cultural affirmation and a tribute to the Spanish artistic tradition he greatly admired. Over time, Dali's mustache became part of his public identity and a tool for his artistic expression. He was known for giving it extravagant and theatrical shapes, often twisting it upwards at impossible angles, which added an element of surrealism even to his physical appearance. Dali played with his mustache during public appearances and in photographs, transforming this feature into a symbol of his eccentric and unique personality. In various interviews, Dali mentioned that his mustache was like an antenna that captured the signals of the universe, a statement that reflects his typically playful and provocative approach to life and art. This idea was also reflected in his work, where Dali used everyday objects to suggest deeper levels of meaning and perception. Dali's mustache has been so emblematic that even after his death, it continues to be a subject of fascination and tribute. In 2016, during the exhumation of his remains for a paternity test, it was reported that his mustache still retained its distinctive 10-10 shape, a testament to the durability of his personal image. This feature not only underscores the consistency between Dali's life and art but also symbolizes the way the artist became his own canvas, using every aspect of his being to challenge, entertain, and expand the limits of creative expression. Number 1. The intense relationship with Gala. The relationship between Salvador Dali and Gala was much more than a simple association between an artist and his muse. It was a complicated and profound connection that defined and directed much of Dali's life and work. Gala, whose real name was Elena Ivanovna Diakonova, was originally from Russia and came into Dali's life in 1929, when she was still married to the surrealist poet Paul Eluard. Their meeting was profoundly transformative for Dali, who quickly considered her not only as his muse but also as his intellectual and emotional guide. Dali and Gala were married in 1934, and from then on, she became the center of his creative and personal universe. Gala appears in many of Dali's most famous works, often depicted as a divine or surreal figure, reflecting the idealization and adoration that Dali felt for her. For example, In the work, Gala Contemplating the Mediterranean Sea, Dalí painted Gala in such a way that at a certain distance, her image transforms into a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, merging the personal with the universal in a single image. Gala was much more than inspiration for Dalí. She managed his financial affairs and art negotiations, positioning herself as a protective and sometimes controlling figure in his life. Although their relationship was tumultuous and often marked by infidelities and Dalí's eccentric behavior, Gala remained his most influential companion until her death in 1982. The impact of Gala on Dalí was not limited to the personal aspect. She was fundamental in the way he conceptualized love, passion, and creativity. Dalí often claimed that without Gala, his great masterpieces would never have been created. This relationship not only influenced his art but also shaped the way Dalí saw himself and his place in the art world. His love for Gala was a constant source of inspiration and anguish, a reflection of the complexity of his emotions and his deep commitment to life as a work of art in itself.